Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here. And I'm Mighty the Armadillo here, welcome you all back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos as always. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Nintendo Wii, or Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D for the Nintendo 3DS. So last time, we've essentially finally managed able to completely done with everything in terms of the forest world by going through the second half of this particular world, and overall, despite the fact that during the forms of Muncher Marathon, that we died a lot of times, mainly because the forms of that particular puzzle pieces we keep on collecting and some stuff like that. Well, usually for the sake of time though, at least the Mango Ruby boss fight is overall pretty easy. So, anyways though, today for this video is about the fact that we're about to be hitting things off onto the next world in the game, which appears to be the cliff in World 6. So speaking of World 6, here we go onto the first level, which is World 6-1, Sticky Situation. Oh jeez, this might actually feel a bit extremely nerve-wracking whenever we dive right into the actual world itself, because as far as I'm aware, this is where the difficulty will start to rise a lot. Especially concerning about the fact that there's a lot of bottomless pits, and on top of that, there's a lot of obstacles you definitely need to able to come across into. So, yeah, wish us luck, I guess, especially concerning about the fact that, well, at least generally speaking, we don't have to necessarily worry about getting a game over, as I said this before. I mean, relatively speaking though, it might be still pretty much challenging as a result. So, yeah, especially concerning about the fact that we're about to be able to once again trying to go after the forms of not only the Kong letters, but also with the puzzle pieces here and there. So, actually kind of think about it, one thing I should probably able to mention about something is that I believe in our Let's Play of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, usually on the first part anyway, that it actually hits 9,000 views, which is pretty insane if you ask me. Because I almost assumed that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Battle Mode Part 1 might be on the forms of the highest rated views catalog, but as it turns out that it was actually Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games kind of thing, where it comes to likely on the first ever part during the forms of our Let's Play of the game back in 2016, at least as far as I do seem to able to notice, especially concerning about the fact that, gee, no wonder why the actual views count is actually ridiculously high, especially concerning with all that. Well, I don't know about you, because it's been about 3 days ago since we've not only done our commentary for the likes of this particular game in general, but it's been about 3 days ago since we've played this game, especially concerning, well, specifically Donkey Kong Country Returns most likely, because obviously that's, as you probably already know, that recently we still managed able to be busy playing through The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and overall I still had a lot of fun with the game so far, especially concerning about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, we still able to actually got some progressioning at this point in time, especially concerning with all that particular lot of stuff we have to deal with at this point. So either way, as you can see, we actually stumbled across into our sticky situation right there, which appears to be the tower itself. And basically what that means is that I believe you basically just slows down, and I think you don't jump nearly as high. So because of this though, I think in order able to break free from that tower, is that I'm pretty sure you either get hit by certain enemies, or if you manage to able to use the actual slam, hand slam thing right there, and basically you can able to actually just get back on track for able to actually get your movements back. So that's as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of the forms of the tar bit. So either way though, at least we take a hit right there, which I know it seems kind of risky for able to do this kind of stuff though. I mean, relatively speaking though, it's just a way of how the fact that I just want to able to get a move on, I guess. So, and generally speaking though, it's about the fact that we've pretty much almost nearly at the end of this game basically. Yeah, especially concerning about the particular point where, oh jeez, that was close. I was attempting to fall off and die for a moment there, because something tells me that puzzle piece down there that I've already obtained, that is quite nerve-wracking. Especially, imagine if I dare fall off, then I have to go all the way back to almost to the beginning portion of the level. So, Yeah, I was gonna be thinking about that, especially concerning about the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, it's just a way of how the fact that the difficulty will start to rise a lot during the later stages to come. Yeah, because I can assure you that much like, let's just say much like the forms within the forest world, we're also able to go for two separate parts, because I think that this particular world might actually feel a bit lengthy, especially because out of all of the actual worlds in this game so far, to me though, this one is by far the longest world in the game, at least as far as I'm aware, because I'm pretty sure it does have like, well, I'll point things out whenever we get to it, so, yeah, because for the most part though, it's just a way of how the fact that you have to be so well timed with all that jumps and stuff like that. I mean, generally speaking though, that's just why I can really think about it. And as you can see, I was trying to able to go for this particular alternative route right there, which appears to be on the left right there. But most of the time, you have to be so accurate with that roll, attack, jump. And because of that, I failed on that twice. So, at least a good thing about this is though, is that we got the checkpoint already. So, but unfortunately though, we got to keep on re-grabbing the N again, so that might be seems rather amusing at points. I mean, surely that's all I can really think about it. So, few things we want to explain while this is happening is that, well, obviously today's date, of course, is the 15th of May today, in this case in 2023 today, and yeah, we naturally speaking now about the fact that, there we go, now we somehow managed able to succeed for that particular roll attack jump, and everything else will be pretty much accounted for, except I got another death thanks to that same exact spike-like object that I somehow died from. I mean, to be fair though, as you can tell, that I've somehow managed able to, is a good thing I somehow lose a life anyway, just because of all that, well, that puzzle piece is well hidden right near where the checkpoint is, which I always assume is going to be one of those random pickups at this point, but as it turns out, that is a puzzle piece after all, so yeah, I was not expecting that. But at least on the upside is though, it's just about the way how the fact you pretty much already know where that is, I guess. So, oh jeez, I think something tells me there is oh no! Oh drat, but at least we can able to actually guarantee it able to keep on. I don't know, just anything else for that matter, so. Anyways, let's go ahead and try this part again and make sure we don't fail on this. And I think something tells me that with that zebra right there, I'm pretty sure he's gonna lead us to the bonus area, which we did already found. Even though it's a shame there's no Diddy Kong on the second half of this particular stage, so we got to do this the hard way, kind of think about it. Yeah, I was gonna be thinking about the same thing for this point too, so. But at least on the upside, we did somehow succeed this, no problem, so. And I'm pretty sure that we basically got about, let's just say, 3 more of those puzzle pieces as far as this is concerned. So relatively speaking, this stage is pretty lengthy, I'm not gonna lie. So either way though, we're able to grab the G again, and I think something tells me, yep, there's another puzzle piece right up there, even though I have to jump from platform to platform, despite the fact that you have to deal with oh, can I possibly get that cactus there? Yes, I did, but I have to take another life, so, because I somehow fall to my death with nothing else, so. Oh jeez, this is where the difficulty starts to get a lot more difficult in this game. I mean, since after all, that we now onto the 6th world after all, but still. I know that, especially concerning about the fact that at least we can still able to keep our puzzle pieces after all. Anyways, let's try this again and make sure we can able to make it, and it's even bad enough that we've only got 1 heart left, which. Either way though, because I keep running into things very easily with all that spiky objects, and especially noticeable with the forms of some enemies in general something. And I think before we able to get onto the 7th, or no, what I keep saying 7th, I'm thinking about the forms of another levels coming up. That's the 9th puzzle piece, as far as I can tell. Probably best able to get rid of those enemies first, so just in case you don't want to able to do this entire ordeal all over again, so just in case. And there we go, that pretty much takes care of Sticky situation, so I believe we're now going to be moving on to the next level. I think something tells me the next level is going to be involved around in a minecart level, oh boy. because I'm pretty sure the last time we actually experienced the minecart level, which appears to be back in the forms of in the cave world. So, you know how I feel about it, for the sake of the forms of the cave world as a result. Pure Strike Path. So kind of thinking about it is about the fact that we can potentially try to able to, well, be very cautious, I guess, I believe. I mean, God knows. Okay, let's talk about the forms of that particular topic at this point today. That is about the fact that recently, me and Mighty just somehow managed able to pick up quite a lot of items for this point today. Well, usually 4 of them per se, but relatively speaking, it's just about the fact the matter is though, I think there's a bonus area in here, which sure enough, it is. And good thing as well is about the fact that we entered the bonus area. That means the tar parts does not get affected at all, so that should be all good. So anyway, we did pick up the forms of 4 new items that we've got since in the past few days, which there are quite a number of games actually, which should be expected at this point. And as a result, we actually got ourselves 1 Game Boy game, alongside with 1 Game Boy Color game, alongside with that, 1 GameCube game, or should I say, the final, or should I say, the true final GameCube game we've got, and also another PlayStation 2 game. So as a result though, we'll discuss on that as soon as we're able to get on with this particular level. So yeah, this particular level is going to be pretty darn tricky, especially because again, if you get crashed, you have to start all over again. So that might be seems kind of nerve-wracking, but at least I might as well try my best to... Oh, at least we got... Ah, dang it! I did not meant to do that. Oh well. So yeah, in terms of the certain items we've got, first of all, we've got ourselves another Kirby game, but this time what appears to be buddy forms of, let's just say, the very first spin-off title, which appears to be buddy forms of Kirby's Pinball Land. Well, because of that though, we just want to able to get certain video game mascot pinball game series, because after all, we actually got ourselves, you know, Super Mario Ball, alongside with Sonic Pinball Party, and also save lives. How the heck? How that counts as a death? Anyway, and also, I think we actually got, I think that's as far as I can think about it. So naturally speaking, we've now got 3, oh, and also applies for Sonic Spinball as well. So, oh, and by the way, if you stand on the tar for too long, as you can see, you get sucked in, and basically you die instantly. So just be very careful. So, anywho though, and yeah, because I think the next pinball game we might consider getting is Metroid Prime Pinball on the Nintendo DS, because I've heard some interesting aspects about it, especially because since we do enjoy the Metroid series after all, because I'm pretty sure that Tiana, she's obviously going to be at, let's just say, for instance, she's actually onto the halfway point of the game already, I think. Although, mind you, about the fact that she might as well able to actually just to still play for a bit of, you know, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom before she goes back onto the forms of Metroid Fusion, after all. So, oh, thank God, we've now got a checkpoint at long last. Because of this, though, I'm just seriously not able to just move on to the next level after this, because obviously this level is going to be pretty tricky, as I said before. I mean, relatively speaking, though, it's nothing bad or anything, it's just that I just don't want to die too many times. And I think we're actually doing quite well, all things considered. Oh jeez, it looks like we got on top of the actual egg itself. And something tells me we need to dodge a lot of those bottomless pits, including those little, like, teeth bones or something. And I think that we basically almost done to, you know, pretty much guaranteed able to get every single puzzle pieces just for the sake of time. And I think something tells me the last piece is going to be, conveniently enough, towards the end of the stage, because as soon as you're able to do this at the cactus, there you go. Oh, wait. So at least we got ourselves an extra life back at the very least, because somehow we died quite a few times on this stage. But regardless of such though, when you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too challenging. Well, it might be still challenging, but that's just because you have to be so accurate with your timing presses for your jumps. So anyway, let's move on now to World 6-3, Weighty Way. So I'm pretty sure the main gimmick of this particular stage is that I'm pretty certain you have to get a lot of usage on the forms of those weighty platforms, as far as I can tell. So for instance, about the fact that as soon as we're able to Oh, there's a puzzle piece from the get-go. That's nice. So, at the very least, we're able to actually have Diddy Kong with us, so that should be all good. Because obviously, this entire world is going to be filled to the brim with bottomless pit. So, yeah, I can totally see why this is by far the hardest world in the game. Well, I would say it's probably the second hardest world in the game, because until whenever we get to the point, until whenever we make it at the very top of the actual DK Island, basically though, drat. I did not expect you to be able to get rid of those enemies as far as I'm concerned. Oh well, no big deal, but at least we can able to keep trying, I guess, so... But, obviously we can able to actually just instantly manage to able to skip this whole entire ordeal, thanks to forms of spin jumps with Diddy Kong. Seriously, I just really love that particular technique in this particular... Oh, God! I'm not used to it. Anyway, so... No matter what though, because of how the fact that, well, as I mentioned this before, hopefully we'll try to get ourselves Metroid Prime Pinball, despite the fact that it's just with pinball game with Metroid Prime skin to it. But we'll admit though right away though, is because, you know, we are, you know, a massive fan of Metroid stuff now. So either way though, I might be biased when it comes to that. Even though it's actually pretty expensive right now, but I think we should probably save that up and join at some point when it gets to the point until maybe in October sometime. Yeah, I think I was thinking about the same thing. And why did you get into that cannon right there? Oh, did I miss something? Well, as far as I see on the far right of that particular previous section as we already went into, there was technically a puzzle piece that you've missed. Shoot. That was totally my fault, especially because concerning about the fact that I'm being too busy just trying to able to speed things up a notch, like speed me up or something. I have no idea, but at the very least we're able to find the next bonus area right there, because I can definitely tell with that particular depth of scenery or something like that. I mean, sure enough though, I basically know exactly where that is, so... But anywho though, yeah, for what we've played, Kirby's Pinball Land for the Game Boy, it was actually quite good, even though I'm not really a biggest fan of the pinball series. Although, mind you, I'm pretty much great at the forms of pinball games in the past, to be more specifically with that particular old Windows 98 game you get built into it or something. But everything else though, that even though I haven't got far into it though, mainly because it's more likely it's just one of those archaic experience as far as this is concerned, unlike other spin-offs in general, like for instance with Kirby's Block Ball, along with the forms of Kirby's Dream Course on the Super Nintendo, and that's basically all that I can really think about it. And yeah, that's as far as I can think about it, just for the sake of likely to have ourselves the next Kirby game into our Kirby's game collection and stuff. Because after all, we've now actually got ourselves 3 Kirby-related games for this year, which is obviously Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, one of those pre-ordered stuff we've got since the beginning of the year, and also we've got ourselves Kirby's Dream Collection, which did happen during the Forms event sometime in the spring, and on top of that, during the Forms of this month in particular, we've now got ourselves a retro Game Boy Kirby game. So because of that though, feels like we're not doing too bad when it comes to all that picking up certain Kirby stuff after all, because after all, you know, Kirby is awesome in my opinion, especially because about the fact that I always enjoyed those games. So, even though it might be pretty tough in some scenarios, specifically the arena and the true arena modes as far as I'm concerned, well, that's just the way I feel about it. But anyway, and speaking of the forms of something Game Boy related, we also now managed able to realize we finally got ourselves the physical copy version of the forms of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX for the Game Boy Color. Now I know you guys are probably thinking, hey, both you and Mighty, have you technically already got the game? Thanks to the forms of not only the 3DS eShop, but it's also with how the fact that you obviously already did the Let's Play of the game back in 2022 from the likes of the emulator to make the actual quality super good. But as it turns out that we somehow got the game in quite a decent amount of price. Like, I almost assume about the fact that it's going to be lower than 40, but as it turns out we did pay it for about 38 quid, which for the actual Game Boy Color version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is actually not too bad in my opinion. Although, compared to the forms of in eBay though, it is a bit tad pricey. Well, I wouldn't classify if able to gain a boxed copy for the sake of time, because good lord, the boxed copy is super ridiculously expensive, even for like very good condition in mind. Well, that's as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of clarity here, so yeah, that's as far as saying goes, that's what I could really think about it. So anyways, now we're done with that particular level, so I believe we're now going to be moving on to the next level. But first, let's pay a visit to Cranky Kong again. So, as usual, we'll go after that particular map key, so just in case we'll unlock the next level. So, yeah, I'm curious to know what the next level is going to be, but I'm sure enough though, it's going to be later on though, because I think something tells me the next level we're going to be hop into is going to be one of those, oh yeah, the 6-5. So let's hit into World 6-4, Boulder Roller. Oh geez, it's gonna be filled to the brim with a lot of those spiky objects as far as this is concerned. So, either way, we'll see what happens during time though, so either way though, yeah. And for way to play it, well, when it comes to the forms of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, as in the physical copy of the game, well, I was a bit worried at first because I almost assumed that the save battery might not save. But as it turns out, luckily for us, the battery did save, so that should be all good. Especially concerning now we can able to play the game on the go, and on top of that, since that we've now got ourselves not one, but all 3 versions of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Well, aside from the fact that, well, unfortunately no original version of the forms of Link's Awakening on the original Game Boy version, because well, I was trying to go after that, but unfortunately though, I haven't found it yet. So either way, God knows until likely for its October shopping trip or something. Well, it's hard to tell for this point honestly, because again with the second half of the year so far, when it comes to brand new games, it's gonna be pretty bare bones. Well, aside from one thing, I suppose that Sonic has already mentioned about, since in Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 Let's Play in mind, that recently the Hogwarts Legacy for the Nintendo Switch version has been delayed again, except this time it's not going to be pushed back until the 14th of November, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that's been delayed. I'm guessing because of the forms of power fact that, well, it's hard to tell really, but I'm guessing it's probably because of the lack of holiday games as far as I'm concerned. Well, at least I thought so anyway, so but anywho though, and yeah, because of that though, about the fact that I'm very happy to be able to finally got myself my cartridge version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, because after all, I still enjoy the game though, despite its flaws, specifically with the actual item system in mind, for that constantly switching between those different items for its item inventory stuff, because obviously we have much more less buttons to work with, so because of that, yeah, it does make able to believe that how the Switch version did somehow revive that, well, somehow improves upon that stuff, so yeah, that's the way I think about it. So either way, and yeah, that's what I can think about it. So, and on top of all that stuff though, is about the fact that when it comes to the final GameCube game we've got, the true final GameCube game we finally got, that's what appears to be Pac-Man World 3. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, have you already got it on the PlayStation 2 version? Well, as it turns out, because that's the reason why we no longer have Pac-Man Party for the Wii in the first place, because of the fonts of, I'm not a big fan of the fonts of Pac-Man's redesign back in 2010s and etc., which makes me to believe of why Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS and Wii U, including Ultimate as well, that thankfully they managed to use the classic Pac-Man's design, which I'm very appreciated still. Especially concerning about the fact that I remember back in the day, that I think that was back in 2014 if I were assuming so, that what Sonic or Tiana did told me about this, that basically, that there's a lot of rumors and leaks back in the day, when it comes to before the release of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Wii U and the 3DS versions, that basically they go for the actual design based off on the redesign of Pac-Man, and I was like, oh hell no, no way in heck that's gonna be a thing. But then it wasn't until in 2014 in E3 that I'm very happy they go for the classic design, because obviously classic design of Pac-Man is super iconic. at least in my opinion. So as a result, yeah, just try able to represent in the forms of not only the Pac-Man World games, but also with the forms of other titles as well, like Pac-Man FIFA, despite the fact that that game does not get its release in the European countries because it's only released in North America. At least specifically the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 release. So that's what I could really think about it. And as a result, whenever we did manage to try out the GameCube version of Pac-Man World 3, it still remains the same as the PS2 version, but with a different controller you'd be using. Although, if we did somehow manage to test that out on our own time, unfortunately our GameCube has a lot of issues recently, mainly due to the fact that because of the forms of the disc laser problems. So because of that though, nothing to do with the game itself luckily, because it still works even to this day, but it's just with the stupid laser system for our GameCube system as of now, because obviously that whenever we do this very strange sound for that particular laser in mind, it actually signifies about the fact that the error has occurred more approachable, or somewhat feels a bit more common. So, geez, it feels like it's kind of like the same thing that happened during the forms of my copy of Mario Party 5. Whenever I was trying to play through story mode on hard mode on my own time, just trying to unlock the intense difficulty, and then all of a sudden that the actual GameCube decides to able to go funny all of a sudden, and as a result we've lost our progress because of the forms of the stupid error code message. Maybe I will try to able to still play Mario Party 5 on my Wii. That might be the better option, just because about the fact that I've heard that we've never come across into any game crashes luckily, so it's just one of those bad luck situations when it comes to GameCube nowadays, especially with all that, you know what I mean, with all that particular, I don't know. But at the same time though, it's just about the fact that, well, I'm just really hoping I can play certain GameCube stuff on my original hardware, but it seems that about the fact that my GameCube somehow managed to get a lot of issues lately, so, well, nothing wrong with it, it's just about the fact it's mainly because of the aged bit, so, in fact, kind of thinking about it, it's almost like the equivalent to the stupid random resetting problem for the Sega Dreamcast system, at least as far as I'm concerned. So, but that's just the way how I feel about it, so, dang it, I lost my footing right there! All because of that particular, no, go away, I don't need you. I don't need your help, you gosh darn tutorial pig. Nobody needs you. Anyway though, and the last game we did picked up, during the forms of our recent pickups off screen, that's what appears to be the PlayStation 2 version of Rayman 3, yeah, just Rayman 3. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, hey, haven't you able to actually realize that you no longer have the GameCube version? So, what's the point of giving you the ability to have the GameCube version and now you've got the PlayStation 2 version? Here's the thing though, I'm not a big fan of the forms of those pink triangular bits on the spine. I'm guessing it's more likely like multi-languages, like the European languages or something. Like you do have yourselves the forms of multiple languages, depending on what games they do have, you know, different triangulars on the spines. So, as a result, that Rayman 3 is the only game we do have back in the day that does manage to have themselves a pink triangular spine thing, which as a result, it just feels a bit out of place in my opinion when it comes to the forms of all of those green triangular stuff. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, I might be biased I guess, and something tells me we're missing that particular puzzle piece, aren't we? I can assure you for this point, it is, because obviously we made it towards the end, so son of a biscuit! Especially with all that timing shot, I was gonna able to get the DK icon and that particular gold barrel thingy right there, but oh well. No big deal, at least we'll be back for that I guess, so. But yeah, I haven't tested out Rayman 3 on the PlayStation 2 version yet, because obviously we are still playing, you know, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom after all. So anyway, so I think we might as well do one more level, because either way though, as I said before, we'll do 2 parts throughout the majority of this world. So here we go, on to World 6-5, Pure Curious Plateau, I think it's what it says anyway. Apologize for that particular mispronunciation of that level's name, by the way, because, again, it's been about, you know, 3 days ago since we've last played the forms of Donkey Kong Country Returns, basically, so that, well, exponentially speaking, about the fact that we're getting very close towards the end of this game, basically. So I was quite pleasantly surprised that we were expecting to originally try to able to do this game during the Forms of Summer, but then something tells me about the fact that we decided able to push forward a little bit, just because about the fact that we still felt incredibly bad about the fact that Donkey Kong is not going to get its brand new game anytime soon, which we're really hoping so in the future. Well, at least I'm assuming so anyway, but still, it just feels a bit kind of luck-based nowadays with all that. A lot of speculations on all that stuff, but it's just a way of how the fact that they always play their game, so I'm presuming so anyway, so. And as far as everything else we could possibly explain, I think that's as far as we can talk about for the sake of this point today. Although mind you about the fact that, well, I think relatively speaking though, we've almost there to summer so far, so either way, I'm sure that Tiana will explain more about it until when she goes back on to the forms of Metroid Fusion, or generally if Sonic wants to go back to Mario vs Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis at one point, so exponentially speaking, we shall see what happens in due time, so. And one thing I should probably expect is that I do not suppose if you noticed, but apparently the European version of the forms of, well, let's just say that there's going to be a new game coming up and during at some point in next month, which appears to be Crash Team Rumble. That game is going to be releasing on the PlayStation 4 and 5 as well as Xbox One / Xbox Series X. But one thing I realized is that on the physical copy of the game, that basically it did say something on the forms of the front cover of the game, that it did say internet requirements, which unfortunately though, that's the reason why we don't feel like trying to pre-order the game on the PlayStation 4, 5, alongside with the forms of Xbox One and Xbox Series X to begin with. That's just because we don't have not only the Xbox Live subscription account for the Xbox One, but same applies with the forms of the PlayStation Plus subscription on the PlayStation 4. So because of that though, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that we can't able to actually get Crash Team Rumble after all, just because of all that online subscription requirements. So it's a shame really, honestly, because obviously about the fact that that's what the main selling point is all about. So, oh well, no big deal. At least if I was assuming so anyway, so. Although I might be wrong, because I know for a fact that it's been quite some time since we actually... Oh, dang it! I somehow managed to mess up with my jumps and what have you, but... jumps just doesn't seem to work with me these days. I mean, sure, it might be felt a bit slightly finicky at points, but still. But regardless of such though, it's about the fact that at least we still managed to have ourselves some cool Crash games in the past. Like, we still managed to play some of it from time to time, even for the likes of the Nintendo Switch. Like, at this point in time, is that since during the forms of the revival of the Crash Bandicoot series, that at this point in time, the Switch is almost getting every single Crash Bandicoot games up to this point, even though there's only one game left exception to this, and that's of course Crash Team Rumble, which I think it might eventually come at some point in, I don't know, 2024 as the last hurrah to the Nintendo Switch or something. Well, it's hard to tell at this point, as I stated this before, just because, again, the second half of the year is going to be pretty bare bones, at least as far as I can tell. But anyway, let's go ahead and activate this drum again, and I think something tells me that, yeah, since we've lost Rambi, I think there's a puzzle piece in there, so... I suppose we'll be back for that eventually, so yeah, it can be felt a bit... I don't know. Alright, so I think something tells me the last puzzle piece might potentially try to requires me to... Ah, come on! Ah, jeez, that's so unfair, with that particular hitbox in mind. And it's even bad enough I have to go all the way slightly back again, so... Well, potentially speaking, on the upside this though is about the fact that we've already passed through that particular death situation at the earliest point of the level, I think. So, yeah, I was thinking about that, and plus I think we're nearly at the end of the level basically, because since that after all we've got all the call letters and stuff like that, so that probably is the reason for it. So. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab these more bananas as far as I can tell for that point, so... Oh, come on! My timing jumps just feels way off for this point today. Ah, oh, dear me. But, again, that's as far as I can say about this for this point, guys. I mean, sure enough that we, I think we're quite happy at one point that we've, you know, finally got certain items we do need, especially concerning about the fact that that was actually a pretty good deal in my book. So, anyways, let's blast through here. And I think, suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off this point right here, whilst Mighty's going to be able to hopefully finish off this level. So, yeah, I don't think there's any point, because even though we did somehow screw this up, so, oh well, no big deal. So, join us next time for more Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns. Instead, we're also finishing up the rest of World 6, which is the cliff, and let's see how this goes. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, dudes.